So the event, I think, was perfect to showcase the work that the Carnegie Mellon Portugal community has been carrying out, I would say, over the 10 years of existence of the program. The program is focused on information and communication technologies, and if you look at these 10 years of activity and outcomes of the program, clearly what you can see is that the program is contributing to building the foundations of the digital world that we have today and of the digital world that we will have in the future. And I think that that was clearly what we were able to show and discuss and debate yesterday. And we did it in a number of ways, all of them related with the activity of the program, but in a dialogue with the trends and the events that are taking place in the world today, in the universities, but also in industry and in people's lives. We tried to cover the pillars for the construction of this fabric of the digital world, and by that I mean people developing the talent that can leverage these digital tools and can produce better digital tools, the knowledge that is being created in the universities and is being created in the collaborations between academia and industry, and this is the science of today that will become the technology of tomorrow and the solutions of the future. And then we will cover the process of migrating this knowledge to its social and economic impact in terms of creating technologies and creating ventures that can actually deliver solutions based on these technologies to the market. In the afternoon of the symposium, so this is what we discussed and debating in the morning, the impact that these developments have on skills and the new skills that we are developing, what kind of impact can they have on the digital. And then a discussion of new ventures, so what's emerging, what are the implications of the acceleration of the rhythm of business and innovation that the digital world is bringing about. So what are the implications of this? How can we cope with this globally and from Portugal embedded in the world economy? In the afternoon, we focused on some of the foundational technologies that are building this digital world. So we focused on networks and sensors. So these are fundamental for putting people in touch, for putting companies in touch, to bring information from different places in the world, to take information to different places in the world. So sensors as the vehicles to source information from the real world and disperse it through these networks. This was the topic of our first panel in the afternoon. Then in the second panel we focused on the issues of humans and machines. All kinds of technologies that are enabling the communication between people and robots or between people and computers. So we were able to discuss human-robot interaction, symbiotic collaboration between people and robots, language technologies. So these are foundational in terms of improving and changing the way that we interact with all kinds of digital supportive technologies. And then we had a final panel on data. The explosion of data is formidable. The explosion of the processing power that we have to handle this data is also enormous. So, what's taking place? What are the consequences of this? What are the opportunities related to this explosion of data and processing power? That was the topic of our third panel. So these are key enabling technologies in the ICT area, key enabling technologies of the digital world and of our societies nowadays. So we had the opportunity to go through and discuss the developments that the program is contributing to, but in the context of the larger trends of developments in this area. And then we closed the symposium with a very important panel. We also have very significant activity in the program that is looking at the implications of these developments for organizations, for companies, for public administration organizations, and also for society and the economy at large. So we had a final panel on the managerial and the policy implications of these developments, and also on the implications that organizations and what they are and their nature and public policy have on the development and the migration to market and to industry of these new technologies. So I think that in this sense the symposium showcased what we have been doing in a very logic and in a very structured way that is really mirroring the key technological developments that we are seeing towards this digital world, and also the managerial and the policy implications that these developments have. So we had 12 of our large projects that are currently taking place in the program present their activities and their outcomes. So they span all these concerns and technological developments that I have just mentioned. And in their activities, actually these projects that we call entrepreneurial research initiatives, they bridge and they span these different pillars that we addressed in the morning of the symposium and that I mentioned earlier. So they have activity plans that strategically bring together in a very carefully thought way education, so the development of the talent that these technological developments need to have impact in the future in a sustainable way, the knowledge creation, and then the collaborations with industry, either established companies or migrating things towards some spin-offs. We heard about spin-offs that are related to our projects and related to the activity of the program yesterday. So the symposium mirrored and expressed very well also the activity that these projects are carrying out in terms of contributing to each of these different pillars for the construction of the digital world. But ultimately, what we are always seeking is to improving everyone's lives. We had yesterday with us the president of Fundação para a Ciência e Tecnologia, Professor Paulo Ferrão. As you know, the program is funded by Fundação para a Ciência e Tecnologia. It was initially launched by the Portuguese government and always with the support and the leadership of Fundação para a Ciência e Tecnologia, also with the very close involvement and support of the Council of Rectors of Portuguese universities. And we were very fortunate yesterday to have the president of FCT with us, and also the rector of the University of Porto representing the Council of Rectors of the Portuguese universities. And the very good news that we heard are that the government is firmly committed to evolving these partnerships to a third phase, and we are currently in a process of interacting between the government, Portuguese universities, Portuguese industry, our research system, and our friends in the US, Carnegie Mellon University. There's an ongoing conversation and negotiation process towards coming up with a proposal, a concrete proposal for phase 3. So there are ideas, there's a frame of reference, and we are working within that frame of reference. There will be a visit from a committee from Carnegie Mellon University in the middle of July. So they will come and they will meet with different stakeholders in Portugal. So that will be a pivotal moment in the development of a proposal for phase 3. And I think that soon after that, the Portuguese government, together with the Council of Rectors and the Carnegie Mellon, will announce the plans for the future of the joint activity with Carnegie Mellon. But we had a very strong statement yesterday from the president of FCT about the commitment of the government in renewing the partnerships. And I think that was a moment that was particularly happy moment, I think, for the partnership, because it means it's a statement of a recognition of the value that the partnership has been delivering to Portugal and Portuguese universities and also Portuguese industry. Sometimes we say that our students have an international education when they go study abroad. But after joining the program, and I have actually been the supervisor of two dual degree students, so the CMU Portugal program has a very specific type of programs. So similar to other international partnerships, we focus on graduate education. So we have professional masters and doctoral programs. But the CMU Portugal program has a uniqueness. And that uniqueness is the fact that all our programs are dual degree programs. So our students spend in their education approximately 2/3 of their time in a Portuguese institution and 1/3 in the US, or 3/5, 2/5. But when they complete their education, they have 2 degrees, one from Carnegie Mellon and one from the Portuguese institution. There's a number of benefits that Portuguese institutions and Carnegie Mellon have derived institutionally from these arrangements. And you can for sure imagine the credibility that this gives and awards to Portuguese education, because the curriculum that the students do here and the research that they do here is acknowledged as equal to the curriculum that they do at Carnegie Mellon or the research that they do there. But for the students, this is also a unique experience, because unlike doing a full master's abroad, this is, I tell them, a true international education. Because they really have to bridge 2 countries, 2 nations during their the course of their studies. So, for instance, our dual degree PhD students are co-advised by a faculty member of the Portuguese University and Carnegie Mellon. So the students have to work in the scope of a truly international team. It's not just studying abroad, it's really studying and developing themselves as engineers, as scientists for the future, developing themselves as truly professionals who have knowledge and who have skills to cope with an international environment. And obviously with globalization and the growing international nature of the activities in the economy, I think that this is a very important and can be a very, very useful asset. So that's, I think, a unique feature and a unique skill that our students develop. Then they just, have amazing education, combining the best of Portuguese universities with Carnegie Mellon, and they go and do wonderful things once they leave us. But they also do wonderful things while they are with us. So we're always very happy every year to see the number of awards and honors that our students receive, and then to see them go out and, either in Portugal or abroad, go and work for great companies and do great things. The international environment that I was mentioning, that we are creating for students, it's growingly the environment for everything that we do, and the same thing is happening with universities. So international partnerships for universities are very important. They are important for Portuguese universities, but they are also important for US universities. So the partnership with Portugal was original in the model that was created with Carnegie Mellon, and it's a model that they have replicated for other partnerships. So, for instance, they have benefited from the learning with us in figuring out a model and making it work, then to go and set up other partnerships based on a similar model and based on the learnings that they took from this partnership. They get access to great students. So getting great talent nowadays is very important. It's very important for companies, and we all know, especially in the ICT area, how companies worldwide are struggling and are competing to get the best talent. So wherever you can source this talent from in the world, it's very important for companies and universities to be able to do it. So for Carnegie Mellon, having this partnership and having a partner in Portugal that is on the field and sees this talent emerging and is able to attract this talent to work with them via the partnership with Portugal, it's also a very important asset for them. They get to collaborate with brilliant people, also in our universities in Portugal. They leverage the activities that they have at Carnegie Mellon. So usually when we collaborate with other academic partners on a project, it's not a closed environment. So you naturally bring into the project or take from the project to other activities that you are doing. So this allows them to leverage other activity that they have ongoing, and the same thing happens with the Portuguese university. So there's a number of ways in which Carnegie Mellon benefits from the partnership. If you look at the nature of our activities with Carnegie Mellon, these are activities that are designed so that Portugal can always benefit from what's happening in the program. So because we have dual degree students, the students are bringing value from what they learn and what they do at Carnegie Mellon immediately to the Portuguese institutions. Because there's a very close collaboration that is built and created around these human bridges that our students are. So, they bring together faculty, teachers, researchers, research groups, institutions. So, in the way that our education is set up, Portugal and the Portuguese institutions intrinsically derive value from the collaboration. And the same thing happens with the research projects. The research projects are, again, collaborative. The activities that we have in the projects are closely integrated between what Carnegie Mellon is doing and the Portuguese partners are doing, and Portuguese industry that is participating in these projects can also benefit from. So again, also the research projects are designed so that there is collaboration, and through this collaboration the value can flow and Portugal can capture the value that is being created here. And the same thing happens with activities in the other areas. So for instance, with our entrepreneurship support program in RES, the value that the startups and the entrepreneurial teams that come through this program derive from being immersed at Carnegie Mellon during 2 months is immense. So all our activities are designed in a way that intrinsically and without any special additional effort, Portugal is permanently in the position to derive, to capture and to benefit from the value that is being created in those activities.